Mr. Craig M. Mason, who's got some background on this, and he's asked to be put on to the harbor management. We appreciate his. By the way, he's an unaffiliated voter, as we looked him up. So there you go.
And he's replacing the late Bill Montessori, who served a long time on that.
That's a big seat to fill.
Big seat to fill. So I'll move to appoint Craig Mason, 9 Acorn Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, as a member of the East Lyme Harbor Management Shellfish Commission with a term to expire on January 3rd, 2022.
I'll second that one.
We appreciate Mr. Mason's willingness to serve our community. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? We have ex officio and first selectmen's report. I'd like to just wish Mrs. Hardy a speedy recovery, good health, and in the coming days and weeks. She's been not been well, so we hope that she hears this message tonight and knows that our thoughts and our hearts and our prayers are with her. I'll have my report at the end, so why don't we start, Mr. Salerno, any ex officios?
Yeah, planning commission meeting had commission had a meeting last night. They had 2 public hearings that were continued from other meetings. They the first one was on a 5-lot subdivision down in Old Black Point that borders New Black Point. They closed that public hearing after three meetings. They'll be deliberating on that in the next coming meeting. And then there was also a 1-lot subdivision on Roxbury Road that they closed the public hearing on that. There was 2 referrals to zoning that they found both inconsistent with the plan of conservation and development. They've also, I told you, been continuing to work hard on the plan of conservation and development. The other thing is the schools. Things are moving along right now. I think Niantic Center is ahead of schedule. Flanders is on schedule. They're pushing on Lily B, as you know, we've been pushing all year. There was an unfortunate event where there was some drains that overflowed in Lily B and got some water on the floors. So they're investigating the drain. It's a drain that goes down toward Gorton Pond, I believe. And there was some moisture found on the floors. So I think I told you in other meetings that some of these floors didn't have the moisture mitigation system put down, essentially plastic underneath the concrete. And they were monitoring it all year. Everything was good. I think I reported at the last meeting that the commission actually took it off the list of things to mitigate. Well, it was back. And last time the numbers were like that were the summer too. So something with the summer. So they had to spend an additional $100K at a contingency on moisture mitigation on the floors that were not treated. So that's going on, and then the floors will go on top of that. So hopefully everything will get buttoned up. School will be on time. And the only other thing is, just of note, I met with Mr. Putnam. I asked about fencing last time. I got the president of Babe Ruth and Little League together with Dave, and we talked about priorities. And I think they got a pretty good plan. They're going to come back when they get the quotes and with the president to see what the priority should be based on the quotes. So I was happy with that. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Mr. Salerno. Why don't we go over to Mr. Daigle?
First of on the Vision Committee for the Public Safety Building, we have received 4 bids from the architectural firms. We'll be meeting tomorrow evening to the subcommittee will make a recommendation to the full committee for a selection of one of those firms, and hopefully we'll be in a position to come to the Board of Selectmen either at the next meeting or shortly thereafter to make a recommendation. Inland Wetlands approved one single resident project on Spring Glen Road for work in the Upland Review area. The second one on Roxbury Road has been no action was taken based on some concerns about the ultimate development of that piece of property. And there's 2 outstanding enforcement actions that one expects to be resolved here in another few weeks, and the second one is still going on between the wetlands agent for the town and the property owner. That's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Daigle. Mr. Cunningham?
If I could just ask, with the meeting tomorrow night for the Vision Committee, if we just let the other members know that might be watching that it's not going to be here. The meeting's-
Julie's going to reach out tomorrow.
He is.
Julie is at the emergency EOC.
Just so that other members.
Yeah, Julie's going to call and email
Right.
everybody tomorrow.
All right, I just want.
But it's at the EOC?
Yes.
Tomorrow at what, 6:30?
6:30.
Okay, thank you.
And let's say I attended the Brookside Farm Museum, formerly known as Smith Harris House. They're installing a dehumidification system in that building to control moisture, which is really important for preserving, the integrity of that house in the very long term. So that's being installed. And they're also getting help from the state of Connecticut with some of the inmates from the prison have been very helpful in the garden and doing some of the work outside. So those are some positive things happening over there. Historical Properties Commission, unfortunately, as everyone knows, we lost the bike and barbecue, but there is an initiative to see what other fundraisers can be developed to help the Historic Properties Commission and the other homes that benefit from those funds that are raised. So they're actively trying to think of other ideas. So they're working hard on that. And that's my report.
Thanks, bud. And your band played up at the band shell, right?
Yeah.
They did, yes. And
I heard it was great.
both
Weather was tough.
both fans showed up.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, no.
You had a lot of people. I was there, Dan, and you had a good
All
turnout.
right, it was a lot of fun. I
But
really
I
enjoyed
noticed
it.
You guys are Dave Matthews. I
I don't know why you went to Dave Matthews,
Well-
but there's no offense taken.
All right, I'll see the next show.
I did notice the guys on the guitar were covering for the keyboard operator.
The keyboard guy, we did have one criticism. Someone said that they couldn't hear the accordion player, but I guess that was supposed to be me. I don't know. But other than that, I think it was
Mr.
pretty
Siri-
It was
orthodox.
fun.
Mr. Siri has a
Okay,
report?
actually, I don't, because Youth Services and Parks and Rec do not meet in July, so I did not have any meetings to have to attend this month. So I'm good.
Terrific. Mr. Paul, I'm sorry about the loss of your father, your family. Best wishes from this board and from an entire town that you served so well. Our prayers are with you.
Thank you.
And of course, I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, we lost John Hoy this week, who is an amazing man and a mentor to many. We lost a home last night. We had a fire up at Carriage Hill Drive, 15 Carriage Hill. I guess it was a site of a daycare for many years. A woman would take in kids. It was a window unit air conditioning system kind of. It caused a big fire in the house. The fire moved quickly. Our men and women are amazing, and we had a lot of mutual support from other towns. While I'm on that, my thoughts go out to that family. That it's a very, very difficult thing to go through. My family lost a house in a fire when I was, I don't know, 9 or 10, and I've never seen a community react like our community does, reaching out and helping people. So amazing. While I'm on that subject, you folks need to know this because you voted on it. This is we made history on Sunday night at 10 o'clock when the first fellow ever to punch in for an overnight shift. Actually, two people. We have two overnight firefighters / EMT workers punch in for an overnight shift for the first time ever in the history of this town. We have now firefighters that work at night. So should that tragedy happen in the middle of the night, we actually have EMTs and firefighters standing by, ready to jump in those trucks or ambulances and be first on the scene, and then volunteers will come in and support and help. But that's significant as this town grows. We, very, very important. We're going to save lives because of that. And my thanks to the Ambulance Association, who, stepped up to the plate and met me halfway, and they're paying for the salary, and it goes along with salary, and then we're paying for the benefits part of these two overnighters. And we're a better town because of that. Celebrate East Lyme is fast coming. It's a week from this Saturday. Dominion is sponsoring the fireworks again. We thank them for their generous donation. We kind of take that for granted a little bit because they're amazing fireworks, but Dominion cuts a check every year and it's a significant one. And while I'm on that subject, the Lions Arts and Crafts thing happened here at the town hall over the last weekend, and that was an amazing thing as well. Very warm on Saturday. I was out both days, and they worked very hard on that. I was at the Coast Guard Academy to watch the plebes, I guess, the new recruits, the class of 2023, take their oath and become official members of the Coast Guard. Amazing bunch of youth, and the best of the best from all over the country come here to our region and study and become Coast Guardsmen and women over here at the Coast Guard Academy. Lastly, there's just discussions all over town. We do this every year. We're not the only town, but speeding and stop signs and pedestrians and all that. One of our members of our Parks and Rec Commission, Charlie Fennick, was involved and was a pedestrian and was in a really kind of a freak accident out on Riverview Road this week, where he really wasn't, well, he was struck by a car leaving a driveway by another gentleman, and kind of Charlie, I guess, was in the blind spot, so there wasn't a forceful hit. We may have all seen Charlie walking up and down Dean Road. It's a kind of a daily thing, and he walks very hard. He keeps his head down. I think he may not have saw the car, and the car didn't see him. So the car's impact didn't hurt Charlie, but he fell backwards and hit his head, and then it caused a traumatic injury, where ambulance and eventually a Lifestar was involved and all that. So we wish again to the Fennick family and to Charlie, as he watches this on the replay when he gets out of the hospital, good wishes and good health and speedy recovery. Charlie is someone who gives back to our community. But it does bring up, and it makes this very emotional, the need to slow traffic down, even though speed was not a condition here, and nor was anything about the road. It's going to happen anywhere in town, with sidewalks, without sidewalks, because it was just a car and a pedestrian. But we're talking a lot about speeds, and stop signs are going to meet with that community, Riverview area, Beverly Road. All the folks want to come out and talk about what can be done, as they live near a cut-through road. East Patagonia is one. Lover's Lane is one. Black Point Road is a travel-through road. Roxbury, my
Big
goodness,
one,
and
sure.
Corey, and
Corey
none of
Lane.
those roads have sidewalks, and they all have speeding vehicles. So we're going to be working with the police. The bottom line is we have 23 cops in this town, and Waterford has 46. Same size town, same number of miles of road, same size population, so generally about the same number of cars going through it. We don't have enough cops to get out there and do enough speed traps and just slow the traffic down. And we probably, arguably, are a busier town in the summer than Waterford.
Yeah.
We attract many more tourists and many more summer residents and many more visitors. So we really kind of open that up a little bit when we get into budget season next year and see if we can convince the townspeople to support maybe 3 or 4 more police officers on duty, so we can have dedicated cops whose only job it would be, unless there's a dire emergency, but to run radar and to slow traffic down. It's a complaint in every town in America. It's not because our town's growing; every town grows, and even in shrinking Connecticut. But there's traffic everywhere, and there's speeding cars everywhere, and there's dangerous situations everywhere. And we are not alone. And some of the things that have been tried, frankly, there's no easy answer. There's just no easy answer. You could put a sign up that flashes and tells people what the speed is, but unless you have a caring driver with compassion and kindness, and selflessness, you're not going to slow a speeder down unless you nab them. But the cops can't be everywhere. So this is what we're dealing with. We're a great community, and if the only thing we're talking about is speed on our side roads, well, you know, it's still it's an important issue, and we'll talk about it, and we'll come up with some solutions. But it's a frustrating issue too, from where I sit, and from where Chief Finkelstein sits, and where Joe Bergoss sits. It's an issue that just won't go away. No matter what we do, it won't go away. But we'll keep trying, and we'll keep on finding solutions and trying to slow the speed down. So, with that said, public comment. Anyone like to speak to Board of Selectmen tonight? Anyone? Yes, sir. Come on up to the podium. Your name and address for the record. By the way, some new people here. We don't do questions and answers. You can just make comment, and we might respond, but we don't do a dialogue.
Okay,
Just so you know.
I appreciate it.
Don't want to be rude.
Nope, that's
Okay.
okay. I don't know what the
Name
process
and address.
is. My name is Jason Halverson, address 21 St. Peter Drive. I guess my comment to some of the proceedings, that you guys seem to be in quite of a tussle with finances here, with lots of appropriations and some unknown things that pop up out of nowhere. I guess my question is, or not question, things to consider. Efficient use of resources. I know. The Board of Education, they have vehicles that they use, right? The town owns all those vehicles, and it could be shared resources potentially. So I would want to ask, or something to consider is maybe think about all the vehicles that are owned by the town, and see how often are they actually really used. Can they be shared across between different departments, as well as with the board, perhaps Board of Education. Time of day. I know during the 9 to 5, everything's pretty busy, but I don't know. Do they need them every day? That's my biggest question. And perhaps with those resources, that if they can be shared, maybe help solve some other problems. I'd like to also something for consideration. Do we need everything now? What is the now that we actually need versus what are the wants? What can be delayed? Yes, we plan for stuff, but what can actually be delayed? That's just something to consider. I guess that's all I have regarding some expenditures. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. Anyone else? Good.
In that case?
I will.
Oh, you want-
I'll just
okay.
respond to. I can respond. I just can't dialogue. So we do some sharing of vehicles, especially within the building. Often, what we find though is sometimes, and it's been a struggle, is building inspector is out, and then the assessor has an appointment, needs to go out, and they're sharing a vehicle, and that can be difficult sometimes. But we do share vehicles. There's also just various needs, and it's difficult. Obviously, Public Works shares a lot of vehicles. Our water department shares a lot of equipment and vehicles in our town. Public Works sharing stuff with with Parks and Rec. So we do a lot of equipment sharing, especially. And there's not actually it's not a big fleet of these Ford Escapes that have come up tonight in discussion. There's not a big fleet of them. There might be half a dozen in the whole town, and a whole lot of people working with those vehicles. Need and now is something we struggle with every decision we make. We talk about value. We talk about how tight the budget is and value. And some of the mower was put off 2 years in a row until we were spending more money on the mower equipment parts than it would be on the lease for the new mower. And we really actually get to that number. Most of the vehicles that we saw tonight have been on the road for 20 years, 15 to 20 years. So we're milking it out. We're spending a lot of money on maintenance. And at that point, a public works director makes that decision. But another part of that is reliability. Because when that snowstorm or that hurricane hits, and this has happened in our town, and we have 6 dump trucks sitting in the garage that can't move because of parts and because it didn't work and it broke down and there's one tire and all. Our vehicles need to be on the road and they need to be working when we need them, because they're, they might be just dump trucks, they might be just whatever, but they're emergency vehicles when there's an emergency. And there's a lot of that goes on in this town too. All good, valid points, Jason.
And
Appreciate you coming.
just one thing too, because seeing Tim here made me think of this. They used to spend about $30,000 a year for snow removal. They'd hire someone at the Board of Ed because they don't have enough trucks. Now the town provides the service for plowing it out, so it saved $30,000 right there. So, because here again, you don't need to have the parking lots plowed if it's snowing heavily at the school, because they're not coming right
Kids ain't
then.
coming.
So, but there again, we found some savings. That's something that we try to do all the time. But keep reminding us if you see someplace you think we can do better.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor, all right. Okay, thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in.